Hello, welcome you in this session. Myself MP Misra, Associate Professor, School of Computer and Information Sciences, IGNOU. I welcome you in this second video of your program. In this video, we will be talking about the memory which is used in computer system, the storage devices and input-output devices which are also known as peripheral devices. In fact, without these components, any computer is of no use. So, these components are essential for a computer system, and we will see that which component is required when and what is the use of those different components. So, let us start our discussion with looking on the basic architecture of the computer system. As in previous video also you have seen that a computer system based on von Neumann architecture basically talks about the storage or stored program or stored memory computer system, because all the things are first loaded in the main memory and from there each and every operation is performed. It means your whole data and operation is stored in the main memory, and from there the control unit as well as logical and processing unit is performing the different activities. So, in this diagram you can see the input devices, then you are having the output devices, then you are having secondary storage, and inside a basic computer system what you are having is its processor and main memory. And CPU is generally known as the processor of the computer system, and CPU is basically consist of control unit and arithmetical logical unit. That is why CPU equal to CU plus ALU. So, these basic things we have to remember, and one more thing here we have to remember that if we do not have any input device, we will not be in position to interact with a computer system. If we do not have any output device, we will not be in position to take output or the result which are generated after data processing, and obviously some communication devices are also attached like modem or some other things with your computer system, maybe it is wired or wireless. So, if you are having a wired internet connection, then obviously you will be having a internet connection port also with that. So, the CPU interact with the primary storage, that is your primary memory or main memory, for both data and instruction as per the basic principle of von Neumann architecture. Basically, majority of the computer systems which we see around us works are designed on the basis of the von Neumann architecture. Now, computer memory if we talk about, so memory is a basic unit or basic electronic device which hold both data and instruction for processing. So, in computer system if we are having our main memory, so those instructions which are to be processed are first loaded either from some input devices like keyboard or mouse to the main memory, or some instructions are provided through these input devices, or they are loaded from some storage device like maybe your hard disk, or you are having some pen drive. From there the data as well as instruction means program or the application, those all are stored in the computer system, and then from there those things are taken or those things are processed as per the specific instructions you have written for the program or the instruction written, and it will be operating on the data which is loaded in the main memory. Similarly, one more software which is very important for a computer system, without that we cannot visualize the working of a computer system, is known as operating system, and that operating system is basically whole and sole responsible for providing the working environment as well as providing all the management activities, whether input output management or some kind of other associated devices management, memory management, some program application management. So, these all things are managed with the help of operating system, that we will be talking in our next video, what actually operating system is and what are the different job of operating system. So, here one more thing we have to take care, that once we are loading something into the main memory, then only that is going to be executed. It means our program is loaded in main memory, our data is loaded in main memory. So size of main memory sometimes matter in terms of performance of the computer system. If size of the main memory is sufficiently large, especially for the data intensive or for very heavy applications, for example, if you are going to process payroll of a very big organization, if you are going to process some multimedia applications, so in that very huge amount of memory is required, and if you are having larger main memory, then the possibility of performance of your computer system increase, because more data and instruction you can load into main memory, and that can be accessed by the processor with less time. And that is because main memory is faster compared to other storage devices. So if you are taking something from a storage device to main memory, then again from main memory, if the processor is reading and performing some operation, and again your result is going back to some storage devices or some output devices. So these all activities in between take some time. It is not that you are executing anything and then the result is stored in the main memory or kept in the main memory till further processing is happening. If your main memory is of shorter size, then what happens that if something is not of the requirement currently, or some data or some instructions are not required currently, that to be swapped or that to be transferred to the secondary memory, or that to be stored somewhere else. You can think in that way. So it means you have to keep sufficient main memory with you in your computer system to perform the operation. So if the size of the main memory is less, then the manager of the computer system or your operating system will be always busy in managing the memory, and speed may deteriorate or the performance of the processing may deteriorate. That's why it is seen, or it is advisable, that whenever a person is going to buy a computer system, then the size of the RAM, that is the main memory, RAM is basically main memory, the size of RAM matters a lot, and that's why it is said that you keep sufficient RAM size with your computer system or in your computer system to get better result. As far as the types of main memory concerns, basically there are two types of main memory. One is known as RAM, another is known as ROM, ROM. ROM is read-only memory. It means whatever written in that memory, that cannot be erased, and that is stored permanently, and that stored information, whenever you are booting your computer system, from where the instructions are coming. If one very basic question we try to answer here, that once we are starting our computer system, basically when we start a computer system, we say we are booting process. Booting process means loading the operating system into computer system. Operating system is whole soul manager of all the managing activities of the computer system. So now ROM is such a memory where some instructions are stored which are always available. Whenever you start the computer, the ROM part will get executed by the processor, or whatever is stored in the ROM, that will be getting executed by the processor, and in that process different system management activities like driver initiation or like operating system uploading in the computer system, these all things will happen, and then you will get your computer system ready to operate on any specific application. Application means program. Now once you want to run an application, then what you will do? You will execute that particular application. It means you will start the process of execution. In that process, what will happen? That application will be loaded into main memory. And if you are having some associated data to perform that particular application, then that data also to be loaded into main memory. So all these things will happen, and then your processor will perform the operation on those instructions or which application you have loaded on the main memory. So memory unit that directly communicate with the CPU is called our primary memory or primary storage. It is very important component of the computer system. So Once again I repeat, the necessary program as well as the required data are stored in that and they executed by the processor, but they should be in main memory. It is random access memory. Random access means that it is not going to be sequentially accessed. Random means not sequential. So if you are loading, let us say, a lot of information, some code will be obviously there, some instruction will be there in the memory, and every instruction or every code will be stored in some location. So each location will be having some address. So whenever processor will try to read the content of a main memory, then how it will read? It will read on the basis of the address. You can think like that, if some letter to be delivered to a specific address, until unless you know that particular address, letter cannot be delivered. So similarly in memory also, the address management activity is there, address of each location is predefined and it is known to the processor that at which address what is stored or what is the location where the result to be stored in the intermediate process, and then what is the location where instructions are stored. On the basis of that address, the processor read those things. So in that process, basically it is little bit complex process, so that is not required for us to understand, but for normal understanding of working of a computer system, we have to understand that the address mechanism is very important, and in that address mechanism there will be two type of things that to be properly identified with their address or by a specific location. One is the data. It means in memory some section will be there for the data and some section will be there for the application or processes. So when application is loaded in a computer system and that is executing, that is known as the process. So a process is nothing but an application in running state. So that process will be having several instructions because you are performing those instructions to perform some operation. So those all instructions will be having their own address, and those things are managed with the help of some program counter or some other different specific registers available in the computer system to perform those things. And as I mentioned, ROM is used for storing the information permanently, and special instructions like the booting process activity of the computer system are stored in ROM. And ROM basically store one more thing that is very important, and that is known as BIOS, Basic Input Output System program, that is used for the purpose of booting process or getting your system ready. Getting your system ready means once you are starting your computer, so all the basic requirement of the computer are loaded in the main memory. Basic requirement means your operating system will be loaded in main memory, drivers will be initiated. That's why you can see that once you are in the booting process, your keyboard will not be working at that stage, your mouse will not be working at that stage, because once the process of initiation of all the activities complete, then you say that your system is now ready, it is ready to operate. Then you can open any specific application, like if you are willing to open a browser, if you are willing to open a game, or if you are willing to open, let us say, one system for which some account management activity is there. So you just choose that application and open it, and for opening purpose obviously you know either you use mouse or keyboard and specific instruction you provide. So once you are clicking a mouse button, it means you are giving instruction to the processor. Once you are pressing some key on your keyboard, it means you are giving instruction to the processor. On the basis of that instruction, processor will decide that which instruction of your application to be executed. So those things are little bit complex, but you can understand here that it is not that randomly that we are clicking here and there and we are getting some result. Any application you can see there are different kind of menus designed. Once you are clicking on some specific menu, then maybe the sub menus or the pop down list of that particular menu is opening. How it is happening? It is happening on the basis of the instruction that is being generated by clicking of the mouse. Who is reading that instruction? Obviously your processor is taking that instruction, and the control unit is playing a major role in this whole process to control the different activities of I/O operations with the help of operating system. So let me little bit try to know about BIOS. BIOS is written on the ROM. This is basic input output system. It handles the system setup process, which include driver loading, operating system booting, and managing data flow between computer, operating system and attached devices or peripheral devices like maybe your hard disk, your some video adapter, if you are having some speaker, if you are having mouse, printer, scanner, or any other device which you are using to it. So all those things basically will set up once the BIOS process is complete. One more important aspect associated with the memory is that our main memory, that is RAM. RAM is volatile memory. Volatile means once we start our computer system is ready, we are loading our application program as well as data associated with the application program in RAM, and it will be available till that particular program is under execution, and in between, if you are closing that application, obviously it will be closed and the content means the output after the processing will be stored in some secondary storage. So once you are saving, it means you are storing in some secondary storage. But in between, if you switch off your computer system or if you are switching off your computer system without saving the activities or the processes which is currently happening, that will disappear. It means the content of the main memory don't save automatically and it disappear, it vanishes once the power supply is off. For that purpose, what we basically need is the secondary storage which is non-volatile, which is keeping the information permanently stored in it. But on the other hand, the ROM, read-only memory, is non-volatile. Whatever content written on the ROM, that is of non-volatile nature, that will remain permanently in the ROM memory. Now let me talk about some peripheral or auxiliary storage devices, because if our main memory is volatile, it cannot store the things, it cannot permanently keep the things. Once our computer system is off, all the content of the main memory is disappeared. So for that purpose, what is used in computer system is known as secondary storage device, sometimes that is known as auxiliary memory also. So in secondary storage device, what we generally see around us, one secondary storage device with very huge volume or very huge capacity, we see hard disk. In a hard disk, you can store the information in the capacity of terabyte. Then you are having CD-ROM. So in CD-ROM, you can store some information, but once you have written something in the CD, that is read only. After that, you cannot remove that. So basically, writing the content on the CD-ROM is known as the burning of the CD process, and once the content is written in a blank CD, so that cannot be vanished and that is permanently written. And DVD. DVD basically stores larger volume compared to normal CD. And next one is the very important and very popular one is the pen drive, which we generally say flash memory. So pen drives of normal sizes from 4 GB to 32 GB or 64 GB, even 128 GB are available, and that even you can keep in your pocket, and it is a kind of portable memory that you can take from any one place to another place and you can use it. And for large storage in the industry or in the business application, if you are going to keep some backup, for that magnetic tapes are also used for the purpose of storage. And one more memory which was earlier very useful of very small capacity was floppy disk. Now computer system, at least since last 1 decade or more are not having that particular capability, and that is not required also. From floppy disk to flash memory movement has been there from the technology point of view, but here I am mentioning that you should heard about, at least you should know that there was a storage device known as floppy disk, and it was floppy was generally of a size of palm or little lesser size of a palm, and there was a drive to keep that particular or to insert that particular floppy and store the information in that. Like you are having some port to attach your flash memory or pen drive. Now, if we compare little bit with the primary and secondary storage, so we can say that primary memory is the memory where content which is currently in execution or data which is currently in execution is kept. Access, obviously the content of the primary memory is directly accessed by the processor. Type, it is volatile. Storage capacity, it is small compared to the secondary storage. Generally maximum capacity of 128 GB are supported by high-end personal computers, and capacity of secondary storage in terms of terabytes, maybe 100 terabyte or maybe 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte or 200 GB, 500 GB, like that you are having very large volume of storage available in secondary. And access time, in terms of access time, as I said that the performance of our computer system matters a lot on the size of the RAM. The access time of the primary memory is of the order of 10 to the power minus 8 second, and access time of the secondary memory is of the order of 10 to the power minus 3. So there is a very huge difference between access speed. Very fastly the content of the RAM can be accessed by the processor, and RAM is of obviously faster speed, and secondary storage are of very smaller speed. That is why sometime swapping from the primary memory to secondary memory take a lot of time, and from secondary memory to primary memory take a lot of time because of the access speed, but reading information by the processor in the primary memory take very lesser time because primary memory access time is very less, and that particular help in enhancing the capacity or speed of the computer system. Now, apart from memory, if we talk about our peripheral devices, so in that context we can say that our input output devices are basically software or hardware device that is used for the purpose of receiving data or capturing the information in the form of soft component. For example, if you are storing something in your hard disk, that soft component can be used. And common devices here we can mention, like mouse is a kind of input device, and it is also known as a pointing device because you can point to some location or you can provide instruction by pointing to a specific location. And monitor or computer monitor work like a output device. So IO devices are very similar in performing the operation, but they perform the opposite function. Input devices take input from the user, and output devices provide the result to the user. It means after processing whatever we are getting, that particular will be provided to the output device. That output device may be either you are storing in some storage device, or you are taking a printout, or you are taking on the monitor to see that particular, or you can use a plotter to plot a diagram. Input devices like keyboard, mouse, joysticks are used for entering the data into primary storage. So these are the hardware devices. And if we see our computer system, in that we can see the keyboard, mouse are very frequently used for the purpose of performing the input operation, and monitor is used for the purpose of performing the output operation. Similarly, printer also used for the purpose of getting output operation. So keyboard is an input device, it is having several symbols available on it, some special symbols, some numeric values, and some other instruction symbols are available. These all symbols are having specific meanings, and when we press a specific key, the processor recognizes that, and as per the specific instruction of the specific program which is running there, it performs the operations. Mouse is very commonly used input device, which also used as an instructor. By pressing left button, right button, you can see what kind of operations are associated with that and you can perform. Printer is used for the purpose of the printing of the document, and there are different type of printer like laser printer, inkjet printer, dotmatic printer, and maybe multifunction printers are now available in that printer, as well as some scanning capabilities are also available. You can scan the document as well as you can use that device for the purpose of printing also. Nowadays 3D printers are also available to take the output in the 3D form. Scanner is also one device which is used for the purpose of scanning some document, and that document may be some text page or maybe some photographs, and it convert it into a digital format. That format may be image, that may be a PDF file, or that may be some other. One more input device which we see very commonly used in computer system when we go for any grocery shop and we see that some barcoded information is being read by that particular scanner. So barcode reader or barcode scanner, it is a optical device which optically read the barcode and then decode it and provide the information to the computer, and on the basis of that it process. So now you see the whole billing process system is having whole information stored in the computer system, or it is loaded in the main memory. Once you scan the content of barcode of one specific item, that barcode is decoded and instruction is provided to the computer system that this is that specific item is belong to so and so group or category, or belong to so and so item type, price of item is this, and once you process that particular bill, and obviously that item will be deducted from the store, the amount of the item you have purchased will be deducted from the store. So you see how meticulously each and every instructions to be written in the computer system to perform any operation. Once we get this feeling, then it will be much easier for us to understand the working of the computer system. Computer system don't do anything randomly. It will perform exactly the instructions written by you or instructions written in the program, and it will provide the result. Speaker, obviously we use speaker as an output device. It receives some wave form or some sound wave from the computer system or some maybe from your mobile phone also, and it perform the operation. And nowadays, as I mentioned in the previous lecture also, our mobile phone are almost similar to a computer system that perform several activities. One more device comes that is working both as input and output, that is basically come like a touch screen monitor. So in touch screen monitor you can touch it. Once you are touching it, it means you are giving some instruction, and if some processing is happening after that, if something is popping out and it is coming on the screen, so output is coming. So your touch screen monitor may be mobile touch screen, and you might have observed in some ATM machine in the banking system, some touch screen facility is provided. So it is working both input as well as output. And obviously mouse is very commonly used as input device, but it is also used as a pointing device also. For gaming application, one more input device or pointing device, that is known as joystick. Our touch screen also come into the category of pointing device, and light pen, which can be used for the highlighting some section of the screen or pointing to certain locations or underlining certain section in the screen. You might have seen such kind of devices being commonly used in the entertainment industry, or if you are watching the TV and if some person is using that particular pointing device like light pen and using that particular to show something on the screen. So light pen also work as a pointing device to the computer system. Some other devices also are there like mic. Mic can be used as an input device to provide the input in the form of the voice. Digital camera can be used as an input device to provide the taking the image and providing that particular to the processing system. Similarly, webcam, nowadays we are seeing that many webinars are happening, many web conferencings are happening. In that the camera is using as webcam, and that particular camera is being used as a device to capture the video, and that particular video is captured and that particular video is processed with the help of that web conferencing tool for performing different operations. So these are some specific input and output devices. Without that we cannot visualize our computer system or working of computer system. So in this session we try to expose ourselves to the memory, that is main memory, RAM, ROM, then storage devices, different type of storage devices or different storage devices we generally use, and different input output devices which are commonly used by us when we are using computer system for the purpose of processing. So thank you for this session. In next session we will meet again.